everybody! Chef Steve is back! Chef Steve is here, coming to you with another video! At the start of our brand new season. I know I've been a bit on a hiatus here, but I'm back! Got the magic skillet here to bring the dishes of delight, the dishes of desire, the food people know Chef Steve to be the culinary expert at, and I'm gonna bring them to you, style after style, glamour after glamour, everything you could think of in a delicious dish, an entree, I'm bringing it to you. So, here we are, our first episode of the new season. Today, you and I, not just me, you and I, are gonna be creating a delicious, delightful, mouth-watering, a delicious mouth. Well, I don't know. See, I don't know. See, here's the thing. This is the truth. Ever since my hiatus, I admit I think I've changed a little bit, and I'm a chef forever. It gets no better. You know, I'll cook the dishes as good as they get, but the truth of it all is my heart's just not into it anymore. It's not there like it was. And I'm kinda, I don't know, I hate to say it, but I'm just a little tired of making the dishes. And it's time to give up the skillet and give up the dishes and go with my true calling, something I've been into decade after decade, from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s, and that is classic, legacy, gaming, retro gaming. Call it what you will. I mean, the old systems, the old arcade games. I'm going from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s. We're going to do some game reviews. We're going to do some game critiques. We're going to do some compliments of the games that deserve to be rewarded. And we're going to do some bashing to the games that deserve to get bashed. Because plenty of them do, believe me. And those are things we're going to review. Like I said, I'm a classic gamer by heart. And don't get me wrong, there are bad games that I like. There are some games you're gonna look at them and this is crap, what's wrong with him? Like it. But there are games I like. So please, my friends, don't be upset or insulted if I'm bashing a game you happen to like. It's okay to like bad games. That's my point here. I myself like bad games, guilty as charged, right? So it's okay to like bad games. And what I mean by bad is a very poor conversion, a very sloppy done conversion, rushed, etc. Again, I like bad games myself. I have my personal favorites, and you do too. If I go off on a game or two here, does not, don't be insulted, don't be upset. Just acknowledge certain games are bad, and certain games are good, excellent conversions. We got all the systems down below, so come on with me. Let's get in gear. Let's get in gear with our new crusade of Chef Steve's Retrogame Rundown. Let's do this! Hey, everybody, welcome here to Chef Steve's Gaming Zone, the classic gaming zone. Here, in this grand den of classic gaming that brings back the golden age of gaming. The 70s, the 80s, the 90s. We have our console systems here from those decades. Gems, indeed, like the Commodore Vic-20. We've got the Odyssey 2. We've got the Commodore 64, the 8-bit Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo 64. We have the Vectrex, a fine vector-based system. We got the Atari 7800, also plays our Atari 2600 classics.
You serious?
Or not classics. We got the PlayStation 2. We have our arcade machines, and we have some arcade one-up machines in the mix. We also have those, the handhelds, like the Jack Specific type plug-in games. And we're going to use all these systems to kind of give a review and a comparison, game for game, on the differences in the versions between the systems. Which are really well done ports and which are very badly done, rushed and sloppy ports. We're going to call them out. That's what we do here. And we're going to be doing it all on our beautiful Sony Trinitron 36-inch CRT-based TV. That's right, there's no flat panels here, no flat panels. Doesn't work like that. Because in the old days were the old ways. And in the old days, we would use a CRT TV, like you see here, to play our games. Hey, it wasn't always the prettiest picture sometimes. You know, you get your herringbones, your interference sometimes. It happens. But we persevered. We pushed on. We enjoyed our games. Nothing's perfect. Life is not perfect. But our classic gaming zone here brings us one step closer to it. So, what do you say? Why don't we go over the systems that we're going to be showcasing in this series? We have an Eagle machine over here. There's an Asteroids Deluxe machine. However, this does not work. The motherboard is completely shot. I did have to kind of gut the machine, and I'm trying to make it a MAME cabinet. That's going to take a while, though. We got a Kongorilla machine here. Donkey Kong in disguise, if you will. We have Gyrus. We have Vanguard. And we have Space Invaders Deluxe. This actually, I know the background shows the original Space Invaders, but it is deluxe. I had to, I put the deluxe motherboard in the Invaders cabinet. I also had the deluxe bezel. So this is Space Invaders Deluxe guaranteed. Shuffleboard, this is a classic. You don't see this one too often. Super Breakout, how can you go wrong with Super Breakout, an all-time classic. And then we have some of the arcade one-up machines I had mentioned. We have Centipede. And again, I think there's about like 10 or 12 games in each of these. Like this is Centipede. This has Missile Command. This has Millipede. This has Asteroids Deluxe, Space Duel, a few others. All of them the same way. Ms. Pac-Man also includes Dig Dug, Galaga, Galaxian. The Space Invaders is just Space Invaders. It's a little disappointing. I thought the Space Invaders would have been a little better, but it is what it is. And then over here we have a MAME machine, a Monster Arcade machine. This is kind of just a generic MAME machine, but it's got about 60 games in it. I hate the joystick. It is an awful joystick. For whatever reason, it's not very responsive. So yes, let's focus on the console systems. That's going to be the real basis of our series here. And again, here is the legendary, one of my all-time personal favorites, the Commodore Vic-20. Probably my first, definitely my first home computer back in the days. The all-time greatest version of Space Invaders, Vic Avenger. When that came out in '83, you thought you had the arcade machine in your house, and I'll always cherish the Vic-20 for that. The Odyssey 2, all-time classic in its own right. Try to go head-to-head with the Atari. Scary to say, the Atari 2600 was the better system, but the Odyssey definitely bolted out some real good classics, which we're certainly going to keep in mind and point out. The Commodore 64, an all-time titan. I mean, there were so many games for the 64. It's just, you know, probably be part of every video. It's always going to get a mention in there. Moving on here, we got the 8-bit Nintendo, or the newer format 8-bit Nintendo. We have a Nintendo 64 right next to it, and F-Zero X has got to be my favorite of all time on that system. We have a Super Nintendo, all-time classic there. There were so many pretty decent games on the Super Nintendo that, you know, it's a must in this category. And we also have the Vectrex, a very interesting system, a vector-based system that has a lot of titles that are noteworthy and that really actually compete with some of the other console systems. Just the vector graphics alone it's beautiful to watch, and we're certainly going to get the Vectrex involved. As I mentioned, I got a whole bunch of these, you know, Jack Specific type games and things like that. We're definitely going to pull a few of these on here. You know, there's a paddle and a driving controller. I got all the controllers messed in here. Paddle with a bunch of games, came out like 10 years ago, but there's definitely some good stuff, you know, we can show there. Back over here, of course, the Atari 7800, which is, you know, plays all Atari 2600 games, backwards compatible to the 2600. It's also its downside because it has to use the same sound processor as the 2600, and the sounds on the 7800 do stink. It's unfortunate. They should have been much better, but it is what it is. And of course, a PlayStation 2 here. We definitely want to show some PlayStation games in this series, and we're going to do it on the PS2. Ah, damn, that split. Well, there you have it, my friends. There you have it. That's the meat and potatoes of it all. Every episode, we're going to take a game. That's going to be the center focus of our episode, and we're going to either review it by itself, or we're going to review it as compared with multiple systems. For example, game A, we're going to compare, let's say I have it on the Atari 7800 versus the 2600 versus the Commodore Vic-20 versus the Commodore 64. And if we want to add in a system I don't have, in a case like that, I might have to do a screen grab or a video grab. But, I'm going to try to really keep it to the systems that I mentioned here in this video. We're going to keep it authentic. We're going to keep it to what's here in Chef Steve's Gaming Emporium. I'm looking forward to this. I am so looking forward to this, making this series. I hope you're looking forward to watching it. Please be there, subscribe, give a like, some good comments, things like that. I'm going to be more than happy, and it's going to make me really keep the show going on and on. But yeah, good games. Yeah, we're going to praise them. We're going to give them the credit they deserve. Bad games, crappily done games, whatever they're going to get. We're going to give them the kibosh for sure. I mean, who knows? I may even take the skillet and give it a bash here and there. We'll see. We'll do a little review system too. Like how many chef hats. Like this game gets, 1 of 10 chef hats. 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. I think we're going to pull that.
Serious?
And by the way, I may have an avatar with me on the video. A certain boomer character you may have seen in my previous escapades. But I think he's going to be joining me here in the Gaming Emporium for some of his own crass commentary.
Look,
things
Chef,
of that nature.
are you out of your mind?
To that. Anyway, my friends, that's it for now. Get ready, because the adventure begins.